The Vs were a huge part of the Sword and Shield era, and when you combined Vs and Alt Arts, the result was a magnificent Pokemon card, and today I will show you the 5 best ones I believe you should buy. And starting off, we have the Arceus V Alt Art. This card I think is very underrated. It's part of Brilliant Stars, one of the most popular and best Sword and Shield sets. And it was overshadowed by the Charizard and just went under the radar. But this card definitely has value. Arceus is a very popular Pokemon, especially with it being part of like Dialga and Palkia, and there's no reason it should be this cheap. In other words, I believe it's a steal. Now, next we have the Celebi V. This card was very popular among cheaper V Alt Arts, and I really like it a lot. I think it just is part of Fusion Strike, which didn't do as well of a set considering the pull rates, but it's definitely a very cool card. Was once at like $23 and has shot up a lot, showing that it does have potential strength in a lot of it. Next, we have Origin Form Palkia V. This card, I'm going to combine this with the Origin Form Dialga V because they're around the same value, both from the same set. I think this card just looks a little cooler, so that's why I'm showing it, but the Origin Form Dialga V is also very cool. And these cards really, they were supposed to be huge hits, and they kind of just weren't. In Astral Radiance and the Machamp ended up becoming a huge hit. But these cards are just severely underrated. It's like a different kind of Palkia in a form that we hadn't really seen before. I mean, the artwork looks amazing, fits the Pokemon well, and it's one of the coolest cards I believe that was released in the Sword and Shield era. And seeing it this cheap and go for it as low at one point as $21.85 definitely makes it a card you should buy. Next we have the Mew V. I mean, it's Mew. Like, just plain and simple, it's Mew. And I think Mew, even though it was one of the main Pokemon in Fusion Strike, it didn't get all of the credit it deserves, because it got overshadowed by the Gengar in the Espeon. But the truth is that this card really does, I think, have a lot of potential value, looks amazing, and just is popular in its own right being a Mew, and just, again, hasn't gotten the attention. And it's relatively cheap. Obviously not now when it's a bull market, but going for as low as $25, I mean, at one point it was like the 4th most valuable card in the set of Fusion Strike. And I think that it definitely has a lot of potential being a popular Pokemon like Mew. It just hasn't gotten all the credit it deserves. And number 1, we have the Dragonite. This card, I just believe, I mean, it's a Dragonite. And it just also, it was part of Evolving Skies, which people mainly think about the evolutions. But this card has consistently, now isn't at the most valuable V Alt Art in Evolving Skies, but has been during multiple periods of time. And I think it's shown a lot of strength as a card and potential, and that people also like it. I mean, it's a cool card, and it's not as boring as, let's say, the Umbreon, where it's just standing there as a V, and there just seems to be a lot more effort into the artwork, which has played into its card's value. And definitely, like, the Rayquaza V Alt Art has never been able to contend with the Umbreon V Alt Art, but for the most valuable V Alt Art in Evolving Skies. But this card has taken the crown and then got beaten back by the Umbreon V, but it at least can hold its own against the Umbreon V, even though the Umbreon V, whose V Max is the most valuable card in the Sword and Shield era, showing a lot of strength.